respected guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I have lived in Canada since 1962 August. I got my master's degree from University of Ottawa in mathematics. Then got my PhD from New York State in Stony Brook and started teaching in Montreal in 1965. And I am there since. Have traveled around the globe at least 20 to 21 times because of the educational system that made me do research in a fashion that in 1986 a Dwivedi formula was developed, which is now in the textbooks of econometrics, and there is a Dwivedi method of rank factorization, which is also in the textbooks now in Canada. You will be surprised to know that the Canadian Parliament has 8 MPs who are Indians.
Is it?
You will be surprised to know that in Liberal government there were 2 ministers from Vancouver, BC. Isn't it? That is the kind of society we live in, and I assure you that we live in very respectfully. There is no discrimination at all. I am extremely pleased and happy to see that an office is open. You know, I think in July 2005, Prashant came. Actually, I invited him to Lucknow with another group of Canadian educators. We developed some students. I with Dr. Pandey, who is professor and head in Purvanchal University of Business Economics. But I doubt that anybody was able to go. See, the Canadian High Commission must play a role. And the role is that if at all it gives a visa, it must give a visa work permit right the day the boy takes the plane. I don't know whether you are all aware of it, that at the age of 18, every boy and girl leaves the house, goes to the market, works and studies. In India, it's totally different. The parents pay for the education. And I don't know, I am very ashamed to say that in Hindi-speaking provinces of India, the system of education has gone down like this. More so in UP and Bihar. I requested Dr. Pandey, I requested him to invite Dr. Pandey, who has opened a new kind of department in Purvanchal University, which he is heading and is producing a journal. The success of this venture will depend when some universities will take part. When this center will be able to provide some undergraduate education here, part of it here and part of it there. And let the Canadian High Commission be convinced that if and when it gives a visa, it gives a work permit. Don't give the visa if you're not convinced. If the boy doesn't fit your norm, don't give the visa. But once you give the visa, then give the work permit. Because in my university, there are 600 boys and girls studying in undergraduate. The beauty of Canadian universities and American universities is that if you are accepted for graduate studies means master's or PhD. Master's is a funny degree. In established universities, after BA, BSc, BCom, you are admitted in PhD program. If you are no good, you are given a master and said goodbye. Go home. Isn't it? And believe it or not, there were 6 students in Stony Brook, only 2 were able to get a PhD. We prepare a student, we make a student all round in the subject in which he gets a PhD. He can teach anything. He may not be able to do top-notch research, but he is well knowledgeable. See, we have top-notch institutions around the globe. IT Control, Indian Institute of Statistics. You can go there and you will find a student from almost every subcontinent doing his PhD. Tata Fundamental Research Institute, IIM Hyderabad. There was one person who did his postdoctoral with me in 80s. He was a top-notch man. We had 40 papers in 1 year. 40, published in almost top-notch journals in North America. He's teaching still. So there is no dearth of brain in India. And there is a reason for it. In every generation there is a cross-breeding because of the system of marriage that our forefathers have proposed. Sapin, Sagot, Sanari. I can't translate it, but I think Professor Khandelwal has understood it. See, I met Mr. Khandelwal when he was director of secondary education. Mr. Rajnath Singh was Minister of Education, and he was trying to introduce Vedic mathematics in high school for 20 marks. I had gone to request him to recognize I have opened a primary school, a high school, an intermediate college, and a degree college in the name of my mother in the village where I was born. I went to see him because I knew him when he was doing his master's in Gorakhpur University. I was told that there is a conference in Vedic mathematics. I am a student of mathematics, so I went there. There was a professor who gave one calculator to Mr. Khandelwal and one calculator to Mr. L.P. Pandey, who was director of basic education. And he was writing multiples of 89, and he said that he can write the multiples of 89 much faster than you can calculate it on the calculator. I also knew that room. I was sitting in the back. I raised my hand. I said, sir, could you give me the calculator? And you write the multiples of any 2-digit number whose last digit is not 9. And I can calculate it faster than you. You remember that? Rajnath Singh came downstairs and put me on the podium. It's true. I'm sure you are aware of it, that when 1962, when in Houston, people were trying to go to the moon. Who gave the trajectory to the moon? Professor Chandrasekhar, who got a Nobel Prize on this. And he said publicly that he found it in Ridgeway. So there are things, but in order to global citizenship. A global education system is essential. And believe it or not, we are having it in Canada. You go to any university and any college in Canada, you will hear language spoken from every country on this surface of the earth. They have developed international houses. You go and talk to your people. This system will be much more beneficial, and I say to Dr. Ross and the Dean, that you also involve some universities, so that you want to go for an undergraduate degree. We give an undergraduate degree in 3 years. You may study 1 year or 2 years here and 1 year in Canada. And see the result. Dr. Pandey has written a paper, Global Education. Unfortunately, I was late, or he was late, otherwise he would have read it in front of me. See, the education not only teaches the subject, but also makes you a better citizen to live in the human society. And we Indians in particular have been taught right from the childhood, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. Let the whole humanity be happy. Let the whole humanity be looked upon with respect. Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu. This is the